The worst periods to be alive in history. Now, is this human history or just the whole world or the whole universe? Probably all of the world history.
There have been moments in Earth's
Holy shit,
history
that's
where
loud.
being alive was almost impossible. Periods where the planet turned against everything on it and survival became the most important part. These are the 5 worst times to have been alive on Earth, starting with the least terrible and ending with the one that almost ended everything. At number 5, the Ice Age, 20,000
Yeah, but
years.
weren't there multiple ice ages? Did humans just go through one ice age?
Ago.
I don't know
If you were a
this.
human being during the last glacial maximum, the planet looked
Okay.
nothing like it does today. Ice sheets 2 miles thick covered most of North America and Northern Europe. Global temperatures were about 6 degrees Celsius colder than today, and the sea level was so low that you could walk from Russia to Alaska without getting your feet wet. Most of the
Yep.
planet was either frozen
That's
or
how so many Native Americans ended up in America because of, periods like this.
drying
Because,
out.
humans originated in Africa.
Because the ice locked up so much water that rainfall dropped everywhere. Your daily goal was to survive. You lived in a group of maybe 30 to 50 people, and you wore animal hides stitched together with bone needles, and your home was either a cave or a shelter made from mammoth bones and skins. Food meant hunting animals that were actively trying to kill you. Woolly mammoths weighed around 6 tons. Cave lions were bigger than any lion today. Short-faced
Yep.
bears stood over 3 meters tall on their hind
Yep.
legs and could outrun you on open.
So humans used to hunt all of these animals, and now most people aren't even able to run a mile. Go to the gym and eat healthy, mostly, please.
Ground. Cave hyenas hunted in packs, and you were going after these things with sharpened sticks and rocks because, unfortunately, that's all you had. But the
Yep.
winter was the real killer. In Northern Europe and Asia, temperatures regularly dropped below minus 30 degrees Celsius. The sun
Oof.
was up for maybe 6 hours a day if you were lucky. Finding enough calories to keep your body warm meant eating roughly 3,000 to 4,000 calories daily,
Then why not migrate to the equator?
which
I mean, it's probably not gonna be, like right now, but it's gonna be better.
is pretty difficult when the most of the landscape is frozen and the animals you need to eat are better hunters than you are. If the predators didn't get you, infection probably would. A cut from a flint tool, a broken bone from a fall, a bite from something you were trying to eat, any of these could kill you because
Oh yeah, this is like a period where humans used to live for 30 years, 40 years. This is like they weren't even they didn't even have advanced societies like what they used to have a few thousand years ago, right? I mean, when they say they, I mean humans. This is the area, this is the periods where we think of when we speak of how many humans had to die before people notice, hey, this berry right here, this flower right here, you shouldn't eat it because it's poisonous and you should die. Or maybe this frog.
antibiotics wouldn't exist for another 19,900 years. So your life expectancy was somewhere around 30 to 35 years. And
Hey, I
most
got
people weren't that lucky. But at least humans survived this. They adapted, invented better tools, mastered fire, and eventually the ice melted and the world warmed up. The Ice Age was brutal, but it is nothing compared to everything else on this list.
Really?
At number 4, the Late Jurassic. 150 million
Okay,
years
well,
ago.
humans
Forget
didn't exist back then. Also, if we go this far away, doesn't it mean that, the atmosphere was, a little bit different? The chemicals in the atmosphere that we breathe in right now is different compared to, hundreds of millions years ago, right? Am I wrong on that? Would it be, too much for us or too little for us? Something like that.
about being
Like
human
not
for
enough
this one
or
because
too much
we
oxygen?
didn't exist yet. You're a small mammal, maybe the size of a little shrew, living in a
Yeah.
world that was not built for you. The Late Jurassic was the golden age of dinosaurs, and everything was massive. The average temperature was around 20 degrees Celsius globally, there was no ice anywhere on the planet,
That's
and
nice.
the continents were arranged in ways that would make a modern map
20 degrees Celsius average globally, that's pretty fucking
completely
nice.
useless. North
That's
America
70 something degrees Fahrenheit.
alone had over 40 known dinosaur species living at the same time. Allosaurus, the dominant predator, weighed around 1.7 tons and accounted for 75% of all carnivore fossils found in the Morrison Formation. But Allosaurus wasn't even the biggest predator
God
around.
damn those eyebrows.
Sauropithecus
That's me before I get my eyebrows done.
weighed up to 5 tons. Torvosaurus
Oh, maybe those weren't eyebrows.
weighed around 4, and there were
I'm
at
joking,
least 10
obviously.
different species of theropod predators sharing the same ecosystem.
God, I
that
want to
could
go
eat
back
you
in time and see
seconds.
this.
And the herbivores were no safer to be around either. Sauropods like
Holy
Brachiosaurus and
shit.
Diplodocus weighed around 13 to 17
Holy
tons and could step on you the way you'd step
Bro,
on
I'm as big as his toe. I really want to have a time machine and be able to like see these, obviously in like a way that's safe.
But the droughts made things even worse. The late Jurassic experienced severe dry seasons where water sources shrank and every animal in the ecosystem crowded around whatever was left. Fossil evidence from these drought periods shows extreme levels of cannibalism among theropods, predators attacking other predators, and scavenging on a scale that turned watering holes into killing grounds. Mammals lived in the shadow of animals that could crush them by accident, waiting for a chance that wouldn't come until an asteroid cleared the entire board.
Yeah, the asteroid was like, let's just end their suffering, man.
At number 3,
Let's make wave to not new humans. What the fuck? To new mammal species.
the End Cretaceous, 66 million years ago. This is
Yeah.
the one that everyone knows about, but
Yep.
most
The
people
meteor that or comet, whatever it is, that hit the modern area of what was it? The peninsula in Mexico.
don't understand how bad it actually was. An asteroid roughly 12 kilometers wide hit the Yucatan Peninsula at around 20 kilometers per second. The energy released was billions of times more powerful than any nuclear weapon ever built. If you were anywhere within about 1,500 kilometers of the impact, you were dead immediately. The shock
I
wave
was about to say, in this kind of a situation, like, this is speaking about me. If I was in this situation, like whatever, mammal or dinosaur, whatever, right? I'd much rather just die immediately. You're telling me I'm gonna, like, imagine you're on the other side of the world, and the next like thousands of years are gonna be just smog, just suffering, just, not enough food, not enough obviously some animals survived, mostly smaller animals, obviously, but life would be fucking horrible. I'd just much rather die.
wave flattened everything. Beyond that radius, things didn't get that much better.
Yeah.
They just got slower. The impact launched billions of tons of rock and dust into the atmosphere, which blocked sunlight globally for years. Then, the sulfur from vaporized rock mixed with water vapor and came down as acid rain that poisoned water sources across entire continents. The food chain collapsed from the bottom up. Plants couldn't photosynthesize without sunlight, so they all just died. Herbivores starved because the plants were gone.
I've watched
and
way
the
too many
predators
videos
followed.
about
and
this.
the oceans weren't really any better. The acid rain and temperature changes killed phytoplankton.
Like, imagine being able to have a time machine, be like positioned somewhere like a few thousand kilometers, right? Maybe a few hundred kilometers above this certain part of the world. You're untouchable. You're like a hologram, but you can see everything, right? But everything goes through you, right? You can't see and feel. You can see everything, but you can't feel anything. Nothing can touch you. And seeing all of this, bro. Imagine in the year 3000. Kids that go to school can this is how they learn about history. If humans even make it to the year 3000.
Which is the base of the entire marine food web. Wildfires spread across multiple continents in the days following the impact, triggered by superheated debris raining back down through the atmosphere. And the smoke from those fires added to the dust that was already blocking the sun. For months after the impact, the sky was essentially just black. The temperature swings were so extreme that regions went from tropical to near freezing in weeks, and anything that couldn't burrow underground or survive underwater had almost no chance. About 75% of all species on Earth went extinct, including non-avian dinosaur, every pterosaur, every marine reptile, and most of the large animals that had dominated the planet for over 100 million years. The animals that survived were mostly small, because they could burrow underground, eat dead organic matter, or go longer periods without food. Mammals, birds, crocodilians, turtles, small lizards, and insects, they made it through. But the recovery took millions of years, and for the species that were alive during the actual impact and its aftermath, every single day was a question of whether there would be anything left to eat the next day. At number 2, the Toba supervolcano, 74,000
No,
years
I don't know about
this
this one.
one is specifically about humans, and it's the closest our species ever came to extinction. Around 74,000 years ago, the Toba
I can see tons of
supervolcano
people in the
what-
comments of this video saying, God fucking damn it, I wish we went extinct. This fucking volcano wasn't like strong enough, skill issue. I can totally see people in
is
these
now
in these
Indonesia
videos.
erupted with a force
commenting
that makes
stuff like
every
this.
other volcanic eruption in human history look like a campfire. It launched over 2,800 cubic kilometers of material into the atmosphere.
I don't think we as humans can like comprehend that. Maybe maybe this actually helps.
Is roughly enough to bury the entire United States under a layer
God
of ash. The
damn.
eruption triggered a volcanic winter that lasted
Oh yeah,
somewhere
you couldn't see the Empire State Building, yeah.
between 6 and 10 years. Global temperatures dropped by as much as 15
I don't get why the Empire State Building was shown.
degrees Celsius. And same as with the asteroid, the sunlight was blocked, which killed plants and made predators starve. But unlike 66 million years ago, this time we were now living through it. We were already a relatively small population of early Homo sapiens living in Africa and possibly parts of Asia, and we got hit with the worst climate crisis any human had ever faced. The total human population dropped to somewhere between 3,000 and 10,000 individuals,
Oof.
trying to survive in a world where the sun barely came
We
through.
were basically an endangered species. We were like one of the like least numbered species in the world back then. God damn, and now there's like 8 billion of us. And we can't stand each other, god damn it.
Was nothing to eat. Every single person alive today is descended from that tiny group of survivors, including
Yep.
you. The genetic
Yep.
bottleneck is so tight that humans have less genetic diversity than most primate species, and Toba is the leading explanation for why. If you were alive during those years, you spent your entire existence searching for whatever you could find in a
Also,
dying
take all of this with a grain of salt. There's probably a lot of stuff we don't know. Maybe a lot of big, actual more big stuff happened with that we haven't found out. Which is actually, you know, maybe we have actually found out everything that's big because, you know, it's big. It's a huge part of history. It leaves huge marks. But maybe there's a lot of stuff we still haven't found out. Maybe there was less or more humans. Who knows? You know, one day you wake up and you see the news of a human found, of a human skeleton found somewhere in the part of the world, like some millions of years, not million, yeah, I guess like hundreds of thousands of years ago, where you wouldn't, but where so far science didn't know that there was humans on that area that far away in time.
landscape, while your group got smaller and smaller every season. Hunting was nearly impossible because the animals you depended on were starving too, and many of them simply died out in your area. You ate shellfish, roots, insects, whatever was left on the coastlines that still had any life to them at all.
Don't you think this had a huge impact on our health and bodies? Maybe we were more superior physically back then, but then with generations, maybe not many, but for a few generations, we were eating like that, like just shrubs and bullshit and little animals. I don't know. But then again, if we then came back for like hundreds of thousands of years, again, eating actual good food, like actual huge predators, I guess we would like evolve back to what we were, or maybe better. I don't freaking know. I'm
is
just
genuinely difficult
guessing.
to explain, and some researchers think it all came down to a handful of coastal populations in southern Africa that could still
God damn that build!
access marine food sources when everything inland was gone. And at number 1, the Permian extinction, 252 million years ago. This
There were like multiple extinctions, but this is like the most famous one I know.
is the big one. The worst thing that has ever happened to life on Earth. Scientists
Really?
call it the
I didn't know it was like the biggest.
Great Dying. And the name is not dramatic enough for what actually happened. 252 million years ago, a volcanic system in what is now Siberia, known as the Siberian Traps, started erupting. And it wasn't a single volcano. It was a volcanic province the size of Western Europe that poured lava across millions of square
This
kilometers.
is how Western Europe looks like right now, by the way. Exactly the same. Like, Spain, at the moment of me filming this, I'm in Eastern Europe. We're used to like 100 degrees Fahrenheit more temperatures every summer. We don't care. I've got an AC working right now. But Western Europe, Spain and France right now are dying to extinguish these fires.
For roughly a million years. The eruptions released an estimated 100,000 billion metric tons of
Holy
carbon
moly.
dioxide into the atmosphere, along with massive amounts of sulfur dioxide, methane, and other gases that turned the
You're
planet
telling me the planet Earth itself was actually deadlier and killed and had a bigger extinction event to all of living species in the world than some extraterrestrial thing like the meteor.
into something
Damn.
barely
Our
living.
planet can kill us.
Global temperatures
Easily.
rose by about
Fully.
10 degrees Celsius. The oceans warmed up so much they couldn't hold dissolved oxygen anymore, turning vast stretches of deep water into dead zones. Hydrogen sulfide, a gas that is toxic to most life, started bubbling up from these oxygen-starved oceans into the atmosphere. The ozone layer was damaged by the chemical reactions, allowing increased ultraviolet radiation to reach the surface, which mutated plant spores and killed vegetation across entire continents. The numbers are almost impossible to process. About 96% of all marine species disappeared. 70% of terrestrial vertebrates went extinct. Even insects, which had survived every other mass extinction in Earth's
Yeah, I
history,
remember watching a video on this, like the like ginormous centipede, like the size of a like what modern crocodile. God damn it, man! So what? This killed more than 75% of all living species in the world. Like the meteor that hit, I think that was like 75% of living species in the world, right? How much did this kill?
lost more than half of their families. The entire
Hmm.
ecosystem didn't just collapse, it ceased to exist. Coral reefs vanished completely and didn't recover for 10 million years.
I
Forests
like how he's that smart to explain everything that happened over and over again, because in all of these events, not the Ice Age, but the volcano, this, the volcano previously, this, the meteor, all of them basically had almost, in many ways, not everything, but almost everything, the same, impact. Everything, dry, explosive, fires, everything dying, hot. And he just comes up with more and more ways for every one of these situations to explain it. I wish I was that
disappeared from the
smart.
tropics and were replaced by fungal blooms feeding on the dead wood. If you were alive during the Permian extinction, here's what your world would have looked like. The
You would just cease to exist.
air was hot, thick with CO2, and in coastal areas, poisonous from hydrogen sulfide seeping out of the ocean. The sky had a strange greenish tint from all the gas, and the smell was unbearable. The water was warm and oxygen-pleated, killing everything that couldn't surface to breathe. Rivers,
So does the sky actually get greenish for some while after a volcano erupts, even today? Have we seen that? I need to
lakes
research that.
turned stagnant and toxic. Acid
Ugh.
rain stripped vegetation from the land until entire landscapes were just bare rock and mud. The soil eroded in the landscape in massive quantities, further smothering marine life. The temperatures were so extreme that in equatorial regions, nothing complex could survive on land at all, with surface temperatures reaching over 50 degrees Celsius in some areas, and the only habitable zones were pushed toward the poles, which had gone from frozen to temperate. The recovery took somewhere between 5 and 10 million years. For context, the entire existence of the genus Homo from the earliest human ancestor
It's like 2 million.
to you watching this right now spans about 2.8
Yeah.
million
Oh, 2.8.
years. The Earth was essentially broken for at least twice as long as humans have existed. Life did eventually come back, and the survivors went on to become the ancestors of dinosaurs, mammals, and everything else that followed.
Until the meteor destroyed them as well.
But for those millions of years during and after the Great Dying, the planet was as close to sterile as it has ever been since life first appeared over 3 billion years ago.
I need to watch video on how life appeared in this on this planet, or how this universe even came to be. A lot of religious people are gonna say God, but how did God came to be then? Anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comments. Interesting video. Go extinct. Interesting video. Small channel. Go and subscribe to it. The worst periods to be alive in history. Many people might say today, shut up and go get a job. Have a nice day.